Respond. Extension students should have the inquisitiveness to respond. What is behavior? The totality of the mannerisms of an individual is called behavior, that's all. That's the only point blank answer. The mannerisms, sometimes you may laugh, sometimes you may cry, sometimes you may sleep, sometimes you may run. All the way you run, the way you laugh, the way you cry. Together, if you mix it, if you put in the grinder, mix it, what it comes? Behavior comes. The totality of the mannerisms of an individual is called behavior. So when we are conducting research on such kind of behavior is called behavioral science research. Now research design in our behavior, what kind of research designs we can use? And what is the importance of research designs? As I told, it is the blueprint for collection, measurement, and analysis of the data. Collection of the data, measurement of the data, and analysis of the data. That's why it is the art, like a art of our body. Art, it is like a art for the research. So why we need a research design? It facilitates smooth sailing of the. So whenever we are conducting the research, we should have the knowledge on what components. Can anyone tell? Please respond. Don't see my face. I am not a Shah Rukh Khan. I am not an Amitabh Bachchan. Please respond. What you need when you conduct the research? What kind of knowledge you should possess whenever you are conducting the research? Huh? You are seeing the tables. You are seeing the chairs. When I asked you not to see my face means. You should have the knowledge on what kind of hypothesis to be formed, what objectives to be formulated, what variables to be selected, what levels of measurement to be followed, what kind of sampling procedure to be applied, what kind of data collection devices to be used. So, understanding, getting a comprehensive knowledge on all these items is called research design. So, research design facilitates to choose all these. So, they are all useful for the research. So, which kind of data collection device to be used for which purpose of research? That is decided by the research design. What kind of objectives? What are the main types of objectives? Can anyone tell? They're all PhD students also. They're not here. Anyone is PhD here? PhDs. MSc is okay. We can take some excuse. PhD students can answer no. What are the types of objectives? General objectives, specific objectives, working objectives. Very good. So what kind of objectives we have to formulate to our research depends upon the research, decides the research design. So what is required for your university will be at the end of the day decided by the Vice Chancellor, isn't it? Because the Vice Chancellor has to look out the budget, manpower, everything. Each and every activity in our university will be decided by the head of the institute. For that matter, any institute head of like that. So what kind of objectives, what kind of hypothesis, what kind of level of measurement to be used for your research will be decided by the none other than the research design. Max Mini-Con principle. Have you heard that name? Very good. You are not opening the mouth. Why? Is there any restriction here not to open the mouth? I think sorry is here. He might have not given that instructions. Max Mini-Con principle. Please don't forget throughout your life. This is a bedrock of our extension research. Thumb rule. So another control of variance, everything comes in this principle only. So what this principle says, can anyone tell? Very good. What's your good name? Huh? Pragatish. Maximizing systematic variance. minimizing error variance, controlling extraneous variance. Over. So what is that? I will tell in brief. Maximizing systematic, how you maximize the systematic variance? Very good. Randomization means selecting the representative sample, selecting the good variables, independent variables, dependent variables. In order to, why we select independent and dependent variables, can anyone tell? To establish the cause and effect relationship. That is the only, that is the spirit of research. The spirit of research is two. One is, what are the reasons for the effect? If the farmers are suiciding means what are the reasons? We have to find out. So we have to find out the causes, we have to establish the cause and effect. The second philosophy of any research is generalization. Generalization means whatever the results that were accrued, come out from your research should be applied anywhere throughout the globe. It may be Washington, or it may be Sydney, or it may be New Zealand, or Netherlands, or Coimbatore. Your results should be applied under the similar conditions. If such results are not applied, applicable, then yours is not a genuine research. So maximize the systematic variance. You have to go for the selection of the good variables and minimize the error variables. Error variables means error variance means measurement should not be failed. Measurement decides what? The attribute of measuring instrument will be decided by two characteristics. What are those? Validity and so prompting is required for you. So whenever cinema is shooted, the dubbing is going on, so they will give the prompting. Tell to cry. There the hero is here. The lover has gone. You cry it. They will tell. The director will tell to the dubbing artist, go down the voice. So that is prompting is required for you. So here, a valid and reliable measuring instrument will minimize the error variance. Third one is control of extraneous variance. Extraneous variance means outside. Only the variation in the dependent variables is explained by which variables? The variation in the dependent variable is explained by excellent independent variables. No other variable should explain the variation. Only those reasons should contribute for the, should explain for the farmers' suicides. Those reasons only should explain the poor performance of the students in the examinations. If any other reason is explaining means, that is not a quality research. That is some other variable is entering into your research. That is extraneous variance. That's not good. So for that, we have to control. So there are, this is what exactly we need now. It's very difficult to control the behavior of an individual. I'm very sure that most of you are sitting here thinking about money in the ATM, part when this class will be completed. I have some other work. I have in some work in the department. My friend is calling. I have to go for the, I did not have the lunch. When the sir will complete the session, I should have the lunch afterwards. This you are thinking in your mind. I don't know. I'm thinking that I'm presuming that you are all listening. That's why behavior always oscillating. Very difficult. That is the biggest drawback in our behavioral science research. That's why we could not able to derive precise results. Unlike in the lab experiments or mathematical based sciences. I cannot say pure sciences. These are all not pure sciences. Nothing is pure science except mathematics science. So the precise results what generated in the mathematical based sciences could not be generated in our applied. These are all applied. Even medical science, chemical, all are applied sciences. They are borrowing the principles of the mathematics. E is equal to mc square is the right science. Chemistry is also an applied. These are all about Maxim-Minikon principle. Don't remember throughout your life. So this is the research design decisions happen in respect. So what kind of research design to be chosen depends upon these criteria. These criteria. What is the study you are doing? Whether they are the farmers or the students or the officials whom you are selecting, like that, these have to be considered before selecting the design. Purpose of the research design, I told very clearly, to solve the problem and to control the variance. Variance have to be controlled. What are the three kinds of variance which we have discussed? Maxim-Minikon principle, already forgotten. Huh? Throughout life, you should not forget. I told you already forgotten when I scroll the slide. Maximize, systematic, minimize, error, control, extraneous. That is the purpose. How it should look like? Does the design answer the research questions? So framing the research question is an Herculean task. And after framing the question, does your research design answers that research question? Does it adequately test the hypothesis? Why we have to test the hypothesis? What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a what statement? Huh? Hypothesis is a not only tentative, it is a conjectural statement. What it conjects? Very good. It connects two variables or more concepts. And that relationship, whether it is positive or negative, significant or insignificant, whether it is valid or invalid, is proved by the research. So like that, we have some more criteria and the features of a good research design. Some adjectives are there, those have to be satisfied, like it should be flexible, appropriate, efficient. Concepts related to research design. As I told, research design addresses these issues. So whenever you are taking the vehicle onto the road, you have to see the fitness of the vehicle, whether petrol is there or not, you have to check. Whether the enough air is there, you have to check in the tires, isn't it? Then that vehicle goes smoothly on the road without any accident. When you have the authority, competency in selection of all these components, then only you can able to execute a good research. So in this process, research design facilitates to select the good variables, to have the control on all these various three kinds of variances, confounded relationship between the independent and dependent variables. That means the exactness is maintained. Hypothesis. So choices of research design depends upon your purpose, your ease of conducting, how far in depth. So there is no hard and fast rule which research design has to be conducted. Purpose for which you are conducting. For example, if you are conducting a research for the tribal farmers, different way. If you are conducting a research for a very urgent nature topics, different research design. And ease of, you don't have the time. You have to generate within few weeks. Then research design differs. How far depth? If you want to go in depth of, for example, if we want to study the in-depth behavior of any deviant social unit in the society, which kind of research design you will select? Can anyone tell? PhD students especially. If we want to study the in-depth behavior of any deviant social unit in the society, what kind of research design you will select? Someone told. Case study. Case study is the only design which addresses the in-depth analysis of any deviant unit in the designs. Observation. All of you know observation, you know? You are all observing me. Now, that is also a research. Casually you are doing it. You are drawing some inferences about me. all cock and bull stories Jagan Mohan Reddy is telling. Somewhere he has downloaded from the Google, he is telling. You might be thinking in your mind, isn't it? So this is observation is also a research design. And exploratory, it's like that we have a set of research designs. I will tell. Comparative also. Characters of research design, yeah, these are all the different characteristics. Random observation, I will tell example. Because I want to focus more on experimental research designs. Whatever I am telling, it is only a preamble. Introduction I am giving. The actual topic I have to start. Because when I give some kind of preamble about the research designs, you will get a comprehensive, complete knowledge about the research designs. If I straight away go to experimental research designs, you may not feel the importance of. So whenever to feel the importance of hero, first he has to be beaten by the villain, isn't it? In any movie. So then hero will see like this. You fellow, you have beaten me. Now it is after interval. You see, then you will feel when this hero will beat the villain. You will be crazy. You will be very anxiety. So now we are not entered into the real frame of our discussion. So random observation example, what is that? An extension officer randomly contact small and marginal farmers to find out their problems in agriculture. That is one example. Because as we progress down, the seriousness of conducting the research will be aggravated. The seriousness is more, and the generation of the results is very precise when we progress from top to bottom. The last one is experimental research design. It's a very, very accurate results will be generated. So now I am telling examples. Exploratory. So exploratory thumb rule is only one research design which doesn't start with the hypothesis is exploratory research design. For rest of all the various research designs, it starts with the framing of hypothesis. It is only exploratory research design where we will generate the hypothesis at the end, because it is a pilot study, because it is a study taken up before a big investigation goes on. A small investigation conducted before adventuring into the main investigation. That is exploratory. And the diagnostic, descriptive. The example is attitude of rural people towards high yielding varieties. You can see the difference. Descriptive. Descriptive is mainly a fact finding. It focuses on what are the facts that were contributing for that phenomena. Why? The socio-economic cultural profile of the tribal farmers still it is in the same state what we have seen 2 decades back. What are the reasons? That clearly explained by the descriptive research design. Whereas diagnostic research comes out, the relationship, it tries to establish the relationship between the cause and effect. Why? What factors really contributing for their standstill growth in their socio-economic, cultural and political profile? It tries to relate the relationship, find out the relationship. And you may ask one doubt. Then what is the difference between experimental research design and diagnostic research design? Both serve the same purpose. Even experimental research designs also tries to find out the relationship between the cause and effect, reasons and the effect. But experimental research design maintains the precision, the exact degree. That means we have 4 levels of measurement. What are those? Not ratio, interval, interval ratio. Last one is ratio. What is the difference between interval and ratio? Ratio has absolute zero. Interval has non-absolute zero. Interval has arbitrary zero. That means whatever, even 1 lakh also we may consider zero. Symbolically, we are considering 1 lakh figure also 0. But whereas ratio is not that. If you are considering 0 means 0 should be there, not presuming one other number into 0. So the highest level of measurement 0 tries to follow in the experimental research design. But whereas in the diagnostic research design, it may end up with the interval only or in the ordinal only. The levels of measurement also varies. As I told, as the progress in the research designs from random observation to experimental design, the levels of seriousness in terms of applying the measurement or the selection of the variables or the sampling procedure. What are the sampling procedure types? Very good. Probabilistic and non-probabilistic. So initial research designs, whatever you saw, they resort to the non-probabilistic sampling procedures. When we progress, probabilistic, still proportionate sampling, still proportionate stratified random sampling is followed. That means acute accuracy is maintained. That what is the main preamble of probabilistic sampling procedure? What is the main spirit? Excellent. Representativeness. Any results of the research depends upon the, this is one of the indicator, whether it has generated quality results or not, whether the sample selected is representative or not, from the sampling frame, from the population. From the population sampling frame comes, from the sampling frame sample we will draw. So at each and every level, we have to follow the representativeness. If we follow the representativeness, there is no reason why we generate the biased results. That is possible in the experimental research designs. That may not be possible in the diagnostic research. But both looks to be establishing the relationship between the cause and effect only. So you see the experimental and evaluative. Both are good. Both tries to generate. Evaluate is assessing any phenomena. Experimental is not more than assessing. It is observation. So first one is also random observation. Experimental research design also follows the principle of observation. What is the meaning of observation? Can anyone tell? What is the observation? You tell. It's a very universally applied research design by our extension scientists. But it is a very good, it has got some logic, some rationale in it. I told you, please respond whether I invite wrong answers more than right answers. What is observation? Now you are all observing. Tell in a very formal language. This is where our extension is failing. We are not pinpointing. We don't know the rationale behind our concepts. Why we are following, how we are following. So please look at observation means systematic methodological way of looking at the events and recording the progress in the systematic recording of the events happening in the phenomena. That is observation. Observation is not so easy. Observing means not just looking at, staring the person or something. So it is systematic methodological way of looking at and recording the progress of events in that event, in that phenomena, called observation. So it is also an observation experimental design. But what is the additional point here? Controls. Again, the spirit of research design. It controls all the rest of the things. Please read it. I will share the PPT. Next, case study and survey. Both looks to be common. Can anyone tell what is survey? Case study already we told. What is survey? Day in and day out, you are reading in the newspapers. So and so survey says that this. What is survey? It is a quantitative data generating attempt in a short time on a large population to arrive quick results. To arrive quick results. So whatever the exit polls or uh, after polls results comes now, these uh, press people, they conduct the survey. They want to generate without quantitative data, they can't give any results, no. Which party comes, who loses, who wins and all that. With all statistical evidence, they follow. All these principles they follow. Design, already I told it. Limitations, each one has got limitations also we have discussed. Now we are going to the actual topic, experimental research designs. You can see the picture there. For any effect on the globe, for any effect which you are seeing, for example, if you are getting constipation means definitely you might have eaten more than what your capacity last night. That's why constipation has come. Otherwise, you would have led normal digestion. For example, if any person is affected with cancer, what could be the reasons? Maybe alcoholic, maybe addicted to smoking, maybe very what do you call genetic mutation also sometimes very rarely. We can pinpoint easily by looking at the medical examination. So experimental research design believes the principle of for every effect on the earth, definitely there will be some reasons. But only thing is we have to find out, we have to relate, we have to find out the degree of effect relation also. It's not that only few factors are reasonable. How far one is contributing more than others will be known in the different statistical analysis, multivariate analysis. So that's why we have three kinds of data analysis: univariate, bivariate, and multivariate. Each one, when we go for the experimental research design data analysis, we go for the multivariate analysis to pinpoint such kind of relationship between the independent and dependent variables. But what happens is, in between all of this, sometimes some confounding variables come, isn't it? Definitely, there may be something encroaching. Ours is a not laboratory oriented. Ours is purely behavioral science. So we get most of the time what kind of responses from the our respondents? Contrived responses. Contrived means not realistic. There is every chance. That's why we will ask the students to go for the triangulation, cross-checking with the secondary data, cross-checking with the records. We have to triangulate. Sometimes when we ask the farmer, how much of land you have? What land, sir? I have only 2 acres. But he has around 200 acres on record. In order to get the government subsidies and all that, if he tells reality, he thinks that we are from revenue department. Entire his privileges depends upon our records only. So that's why he pretends. If we go by that, what happens? Entire our result is wrong only, no? 200 acres realistic he has, but he tells that what's 2 acres only. We will note down and we will submit our presentation, everything. That's why we have to triangulate it. That kind of extraneous data, confounding variable data has to be controlled. That is the purpose of experimental research design. Okay. So these are the different experimental designs. I will take another 15 minutes. Informal experimental designs, formal, true, quasi, ex post facto designs. So each one I am going to tell in brief. Please look at carefully. In informal, how many we have? 3. Formal, of course, formal experimental designs we may not resort. You might have heard, you might have read in the statistics, isn't it? All these CRD, RBD, LSD, and the factorial designs. and excellent designs, but it requires patience. It requires very precise data measuring tools to administer these. We can administer in our behavioral sciences, but it requires a lot of wisdom as well as data scales, indices, schedules should separate tools to be developed for this. And true experimental, which we can use in our behavioral science. Two are there. Quasi, that may not follow the real spirit of experiment may not be there. Three are there. Exposed facto. Exposed facto also two types are there. Okay. Now, informal experimental designs. They are very less sophisticated form of analysis based on the differences in magnitudes. Magnitudes, which level of measurement? Magnitude is measured in which level, through which level of measurement? Ratio. Excellent. Okay. Ratio. Who are the PhD students here? Magnitude is measured ordinary level of measurement. The first one is nominal, only categorization. Second one is greater than or less than. Who is more having the height or weight person here? That is measured. So greater than less than principle is followed in ordinal. So that kind of magnitudes is measured ordinal, only informal experimental ordinal. Formal experimental designs. They offer relatively more control and precise statistical procedures. I told no, experimental designs means you have to remember only maximum unicorn principle and administer of high-end statistics, multinominal, multivariant statistical techniques, because the data is so voluminous and we have to rigorous analysis has to be conducted. So next, first informal, before and after, with no control. Only one group of farmers will be there. We will conduct a benchmark survey pre-test, and after imposing the intervention, we will collect the after effects. Post-test we will administer. So the difference between Y and X, post minus pre, is the effect. So limitation is what? Passage of time, considerable extraneous variation may be there. So there may be definitely not only the effect is happened through your intervention. For example, I want to see the learnings from the television. I will conduct one program only through television. Where is the guarantee that they may not see the Facebook? They may not see the Instagram. They may not read the newspaper. They will get the knowledge from other sources also. Where is the guarantee that the incremental increased knowledge only through television? Second one, after only. But control will be there. See here. So after we are taking the no pretest, we are conducting post test. How much of knowledge has been increased by comparing with the control group. All of you know now control group, PhD students especially. Control means we don't impose the intervention. Experiment means we will impose the intervention. For the example is we will conduct the training on digital marketing technologies for one group of farmers. That is experiment. And after few months, we will collect the data from the other group of farmers also. That is control. Where we have not conducted the training, we collect. After also we collect with control design. Control also will be there. So this is much more advanced than rest of the two. Here treatment control is there. Even treatment before after. Before conducting the training program, we collect their level of knowledge. After training program, we collect. Even in control also we collect. So it is better than rest of the two. Now, formal experimental designs. These are well used in other disciplines like medicine or even in our agriculture also, agronomy, soil science, they are well fit. Completely randomized, randomized block, Latin square, factorial design. The results are very accurate from those experimental designs. Next, third one is true experimental designs. This can be possible in our behavioral sciences. They are doing it. Post test only. We are conducting only post test, no pre test. But with equivalent group design, with control equivalent, the size of the control as well as experiment, traits are matching. The other one is pre-test, post-test with the control group. This is advanced than the earlier one. Earlier, what is the weakness? In control group, we are not conducting the pre-test. In treatment, we are conducting pre as well as post. But control, we are conducting only post. But in the next part, we are conducting the pre. What is their knowledge when we have not conducted the training program even for the experimental group also. So that is advanced than the earlier one. Next, quasi-experimental. That means they may not strictly follow the principles of experimental design. Less efficient than the true experimental designs. Examples are time series design. First, we will select a group, series of pre-test or pre-treatment measurements of the same group or equivalent groups at regular intervals we conduct. At regular intervals, 1 month, after 1 month, after 2 months, after third month, we are going to conduct pre-test only. And a series of post-test or post-treatment measurements of the same group or equivalent groups at regular intervals also will be taken place. Even when our EI is meant to conduct the training programs. After conducting the training program, when they go back, even from Tamil Nadu also, officials of Department of Agriculture, Horticulture, say, Animal Husbandry, Sericulture, Forestry, they used to attend. What we do know, when they go back, after 1 week, we will shoot one performer. How far you are applying the learnings? After 1 month, another performer. After 3 months, another performer. After 1 year, another performer. Otherwise, what happening is if we don't collect the data, they will forget everything. They will lose the seriousness of applying the learnings of the training program at our institute. So that's why so they will be ready to give the data to us. This is called as post-test equivalent time sample design. We will select a group of farmers first. We will impose one treatment, one training program. After that, we will conduct how much of knowledge has improved post-test. Again, another training program. Again, on that training program, we will collect the post-test. Like that, series of interventions were imposed. Accordingly, the post-tests will be administered. This is another quasi-experiment. There, control and experiment both are equal. Here, control and experiment members are not equal. And we follow pre-test as well as post-test. Only the difference here is they are not equal. Next, ex post facto research design. This is what we universally follow it because it believes that the phenomena which is cannot be manipulated now. The thumb rule here is the phenomena which is on which you are conducting the research cannot be manipulated. For example, if at all, the same example I can take, if at all I want to study the socio-economic cultural profile of the tribal farmers. Already it is happened. Their social conditions, economic conditions were set. When I entered into that village, already they were having certain level of social and economic profile. Now I cannot change it. What else? What more I can do? What are the factors that were contributed for their present electors are more precise that I can do. I can study impact. I can evaluate, but I cannot manipulate the existing phenomena. I can manipulate the variables. I can manipulate the research measuring instrument, but I cannot manipulate the phenomena as such. For example, farmer suicides only. I cannot stop the suicides. Already happened in that village. Two farmers were died. Now I am going to study what are the reasons for their suicides. I am going. You cannot. You don't have the role to stop, or you are not a culprit for that. So when you are studying a phenomena which is already happened at the ground level, X. So now what we are doing, we are only seeing the digging it reasons. So that is exposed factor research design. Now we will see two types are exposed factor. One is cause to effect. The other one is effect to cause. First two groups we will select. One is affected group, the other one is non-affected group. And presumed cause are the independent variables, and we will study what are the effects. We will find out the causes for the effect. In the control group also, because in control group there were no causes, we will find out the effects for that. Next one is effect to cause. We will start with the effect and we will find out the causes in the experimental group by comparing with the control group, which is not factor design. Many social events are such that they have already occurred and cannot be repeated or replicated. You cannot. We cannot simulate. Can you simulate anything? We cannot simulate. Like what we can simulate, like a dinosaur in the Jurassic Park movie. It is, no one can believe that it is a simulated one. It looks as if it is a real dinosaur, the Jurassic Park movie. Such kind of behaviors happened at the village level, we cannot simulate. Example is study on effects of social change due to adoption of new cooking utensils. You may not believe. So 2 decades back, even still in some of the hamlets, tribal areas, they are using the very age-old earthen pots for cooking. Earthen pots they are cooking, not advanced cookers and all that what we are using nowadays in the towns. But when all of the sudden a transformation has come in their cooking habits also. Earlier there were no cylinders, no stoves in the hamlets and remote areas. Now it is also changed there. So with that what happened? Social change has happened with such kind of interventions. They don't have the television earlier. Slowly television has encroached. Television with the ZTV, Star TV, and much more headache is what? What nowadays, which has spoiled everything. What is that? Netflix, Prime Video, Hotstar. It has killed the talent of the people. If such by God's grace, it has not entered into rural areas, probably it might have entered. People were not addicted. In urban areas, what happens? Whenever they go to house meets, switch on. So social change has come with their advent. We have to study what is the role of advent of this kind of social media into the life of the common man. How the life is changed. You can someone can take an excellent study. This is how this kind of media has ruined the Like, how many people have seen the uh, last World Cup match which is played by India, semi-final, I think, final also. It has entered final also. You know how many people have seen in the Hotstar? More than the population of Telangana state. Our population is 4 crores. How many crores have seen? 6.2 crores have seen. You don't have real data. I have the real data. I have the screenshot also. I want to put to the PMO office. This is the panic of our people. If any program is paid by on the farming activity, farmers, innovative technology, how many people will see? 1,000 or 500 people will see. Drone technology, how many people will see? Maximum 1,000 people will see. Even it is Netflix or Hotstar also. The same channel which has aired the World Cup final match, which has paved the way for the witness of 6.2 crores, more than the population of one state. The big state, even Tamil Nadu also may be having 6 crores only. Very pathetic. That means we are not so passionate fault. Moreover, it is not our national game because as the Prime Minister is there at that event or the top echelons are there, people might have seen, I don't know. But 6.2 crores watched means why the other events were not attracting that much of attention by the common people? One should think about it. That's where we have to conduct the research. What I mean to say is, we have to why that kind of transformation is not coming. Why we could not able to percolate our technologies through this kind, the same Hotstar, why not popularizing drone technology, IPM technology, INM technology, natural farming technology among the farmers? Why the policymakers are not thinking from that direction? So we have to, as a behavioral science research, we have to conduct research, we have to come out some policy inputs. That is possible through export factor research. So it has got some disadvantages also. For every advantage on the globe, there will be upwards and reverse of coin. If you want to study the impact of TV program in a village, impact of TV program in the increased knowledge among the farmers, it is not possible to control the viewers, particularly those who we are considered as a control group. That means we may not control them to see the, as I told, to read the newspapers, to discuss with the fellow farmers. There is no guarantee that whatever the incremental increase the income in the technology is only through televisions, which we have aired. Next, I told control, control, control. From first slide onwards. Control the variables, control the variance. How we can control them? These are the 6 techniques through which we can control the behavior. Police will reveal the facts from any hardcore thief. Narco test. Narco test, have you heard it? It is like hypnotism also. In the same way, we can also control the variance in our behavioral science. So precision matching, mechanism of matching both the groups on all selected independent and independent variables or characters. We have to match. If here 30% of respondents are having the 30 to 35 years of age in your sample, there also in the control group also 30% of respondents should be in the range of 30 to 35 years of age. So like that you have to match in all the characters. By frequency, the selected characters are matched between two groups by percentage or frequency, same thing. By randomization, as some of you told, representativeness is the beauty of the research. You can control representation. All the segments of the population should represent in the sample. Control through measurement, measuring before and after. Before, conduct the benchmark survey, pre-test, and after imposing the intervention, again you conduct another test. So difference between y minus x after minus before is equal to effect. Next, replication. repeat the experiment. The same experiment, whatever you did today, the same you administer after few years. So then that is reliability. Insulation. Insulation is completely avoiding from other sources of contamination. It is possible only in the lab experiments. In our case, psychotherapy, narco-analysis I told. There is another excellent classification of experimental designs given by two eminent behavioral scientists, Chapins and Greenwoods. Chapin says that cross-sectional, projected, exposed factor, both have told exposed factor. And Greenwoods added that there is a trail and error, controlled, natural, exposed factor, laboratory experiment. So this is the flow chart of any experimental research design. First we have to plan, select the problem, formulate the hypothesis, and choose the appropriate variables, set the context where you are conducting the research, prepare the ground, conduct the pilot study, that is called as the pre-testing. That is also a exploratory spirit of exploratory research design, and select the actual research design and use the happens what he says, cross-sectional designs, controlled comparisons for a single date by procedures of selective on a single date at different locations you have to conduct the research on a single day. For example, this happens at what, in what occasion can anyone tell? On a single day they will conduct many examinations whenever solar eclipse happens. It is well known, or lunar eclipse or solar eclipse happens. The astronauts, they will be with the telescopes, one in Australia, one in America, one in Japan, one in Switzerland, even in our Birla Science Center, Hyderabad also, here also probably Coimbatore also, astronauts will be ready with the big telescopes. What we can see, the sun, what we can see in the moon, what we can see, changes happening. So the connecting the dots, the connecting the results of all these observations will give a beautiful result. That is cross-sectional design. Next, projected design. This is also before and after study in which attempt was made to measure the effect of the any social force at some future date. That is the thing. For example, favorable attitude towards organic manures by the farmers leads to pollution-free environment in future. So this kind of attitude prevailing right now likely to generate result. Whether it generates or not will be known through research. Exposed factor, trial and error. This is also very nice. You should not rule out. What he tells is, if you don't have any structural plan, any knowledge on all these aspects, variables, measurement, sampling and all that, you prepare a hypothesis and try to test it. Just you presume something in your mind. It may give dividends or you may fail, but you will get the experience. Next, a controlled observation study. It includes observation under controlled conditions. Therefore, comes nearer to the laboratory type of experiment. Laboratory also same thing. When you add alcohol into acid, nothing comes in middle. The required quantity of alcohol is added into required quantity of acid to look at the required quantity of the outcome, solution. So there won't be any manipulation or interruption. Under this method, a stimulus is provided to the subject and the changes are observed to find out the causal effect of the stimulus. Stimulus means some intervention. We have to impose the intervention, we have to see it. Natural experiment. It is like a field experiment under natural setting without any artificial stimulation. No simulations. Nothing is artificially created. It is used for studying a wide variety of techniques and methods such as analyzing techniques, effect of group discussion and group participation. So this also we can study. The effect of group discussion in the adoption of the technologies. Exposed factor, okay. Laboratory experiment, it is completely under controlled conditions. Advantage of experimental designs. Cause and effect relationships are more clearly known, more precise and accurate. It universally acclaimed as the most scientific method. There is no next level of conducting the research than this. This is particularly appropriate for studying the methods of rural social change, rural social processes, social influences, and also our extension teaching methods. Day by day, there is a rapid transformation in our teaching methods. What our forefathers used or not used by the present extension scientists at the field level. We are using extension methods like networks. We are using the methods like partnerships. We are using the methods like social media penetration of the social media. So, what is the effect of all these changed extension methods in the livelihood patterns? Changes in the livelihood patterns of the farming community also can be studied. Even the simple studies, the change in the extension teaching methods, proportionate change in the rural life, what do you call, living patterns. The conclusion is there are several research designs. How many research designs? Please spell out. Starting random observation, exploratory, descriptive, diagnostic, evaluative, evaluative last, case study, survey, experimental and evaluative. So we have enough research designs and the researcher must decide in advance of collection and analysis of data as to which design would prove to be more appropriate for his research project. Everything in the research revolves around the data. Data. If we have the data, we can play. Morning we have seen, they have voluminous data. They can create miracles. They can write articles to the high profile journals, the globe. If you don't have the data, if you don't have the bullets, how you can load into the gun? First you should procure bullets. If you have the arms and ammunition, you can fight. We have the arms and ammunition. We must give due weight to various points such as the type of universe and its nature, the objective of the study, the source list and sampling frame, desired standard of accuracy when taking a decision in respect of the design. This is underlining factor. This has to be underlined. What is that? Desired standard of accuracy. If you are not serious about your research, if you don't want accurate results, you can stop at second one itself, descriptive. No problem. You can stop at exploratory, no issue. Don't resort to experimental. Don't get fooled by others. If you want accuracy, then only go to the ex post facto or else experimental research design or evaluative research design because they need seriousness. They need high end.